Good evening, Damini, Dheeraj, and Venus. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I I can hear you.
Uh, it's Venus, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm Venus.
Hi, Venus. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Which part of the country are you from?
I'm from Gurgaon.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Uh, and I know what prompted you to, learn AI.
So it's quite some time that I'm following AI,
Hmm.
uh, and I feel that uh, quite a bit can be done, and it's like something I would still not call it something which is 2000 internet, but I felt that in 2008 9 when e-commerce started picking up, and that's the
Hmm.
reason that I get into that wave and may not have built something of my own, but
Hmm.
till now what I'm doing, that's because of that. So I
Hmm.
feel that may or may not be, it's like internet kind of a way, but it's like a AI is something
Hmm.
bare minimum, something happening where I think we need to participate real well, and it can open up real new things for us to pursue our passion, or maybe something, make something big.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, rarely, I've seen .com, I've seen, mobile phenomenon, the mobile phone just taking over a lot of stuff. I'm now seeing AI.
I'm a very very early users of Craftwilla for your
Okay, okay, okay. Great, great, great. So, no, great to, see you, Venus, and hopefully, we'll together learn. AI is so new that, for me to say that I will teach
yeah.
is not gonna be fair. So I think we'll all together learn. We have Abhishek here. Abhishek, do
Hi,
you want to
Manoj.
introduce yourself?
Sure, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Abhishek Bakshi. I am a strategy professional based out of Delhi and Bangalore, and I work for
Hmm.
Shell.
Hmm.
So my core competencies around finance and competitive intelligence, and
Hmm.
that's why AI, and we do a lot of stuff manually, right? So I'm
Hmm.
like a glorified buy side analyst for my company, understanding what my competitors are doing, and I really want to
Hmm.
understand, right, how maybe AI can leverage AI on beyond what we see on like a Chat GPT or any other LLM,
Hmm.
and get gain more information, then spend more time on synthesis and analysis
Hmm.
to understand that content.
Got it, got it. So looking for AI in the context of finance, right? If I broadly understand, is that
Yes, it is not only about finance. So I think while there are
mm,
tools in terms of understanding the numbers, etc., but this
mm,
is also the finer facets of information, and this is very large scale qualitative information. And
mm,
sometimes you get questions like what is so and so company doing in China in, let's say, wind and solar, right?
okay.
So then we go and search about it, right? And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
text might be in Chinese or Mandarin. And
Mm-hmm.
then what is the same company doing in Saudi Arabia? What are they doing in the UK, right? So there are things like this, to and you cannot be an expert in every field.
Mm-hmm.
While I've spent a number of years in energy space, but
Mm-hmm.
I am still a learner, as most of us are. So
Mm-hmm.
it really helps if we have tools on the AI side,
Mm-hmm.
which can probably help me maybe see if we can build these kind of things, maybe some small tools which can help us gather the information. So right now, my time which I spend is 50-50. Like 50% of time is in information gathering, and then 50% is in, let's say, synthesis and analysis, right, and
Got it, got it,
presenting.
got it, got
So I
it,
just
got it.
want to reduce the time that I spend actually in the information gathering.
No, great, great. Hopefully you you will be able to, reduce time, maybe not by 50%, but 10-20%. And that
Certainly, I think
itself is
that that
a
enough
that
that is
that's
enough
a
for
huge,
me.
huge, huge for us to say. Yeah, definitely. We have Dheeraj here. Dheeraj, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, there's this side. I'm a software developer from Gurgaon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just exploring AI that what wonders is it can do by implemented in
Mm-hmm.
applications and the websites. So we
Got it.
can just make life easy for the users.
Great, great. So you're looking from a software technology perspective,
Yeah.
to implement apps and those kind of stuff,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Got it. Got it. Himanshu, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Manshu. Uh, so I work as a senior product manager at a telecom company called Technotree. It provides PSS and OSS softwares for telecom clients.
Mm-hmm.
Like uh, Manoj, Manoj also did PGPX, right? So I
Yes,
have
yes.
also recently completed PGPX,
Oh,
and
okay,
I had
okay.
the uh, chance to listen to Manoj in one of the talks when he came to IIM Ahmedabad campus. Uh, yeah, I'm generally curious about AI, and I've worked in
Great.
search and recommendations before my PGPX
Okay, okay.
course. So, but I mean that was, I would say, before the AI era became so big. I mean the
Mm-hmm.
search and recommendations were still like uh, not very large scale. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just want to catch up on that, to be honest. Like
Sure.
what have been the developments after all these things have occurred. So yeah, that's my motivation of joining this course, and looking
Great.
forward to learn and maybe contribute as well.
Sure, sure, Himanshu. Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
thank you.
Home delivery, Damini, you want to introduce yourself?
So, hello everyone. My name is Damini. I recently graduated with the BSc in mathematics from Delhi University,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to explore AI and ML, and I've worked in data analytics in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to explore this field because it's so up and coming. So I picked up an internship in an organization which is mostly PM work, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that I have the leadership skills,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want to build on my technical skills, which is why I'm here.
Got it, got it, got it. Great, great to know. I think definitely we have a very varied crowd, and it is when I look at AI, I look at something fundamentally changing, and it gets me excited. As I said, I've seen multiple technologies. AI is going to fundamentally change how we work, in a work environment, how we teach in a schools, how we even interact at home, how we interact in office kind of stuff. So there's so many things happening. And whenever I look at what AI is happening, some apps which some people tell us, look at this, what this app is doing. It's just fundamentally, mind blowing. And I'm actually personally very excited about AI. I run a company called Plotch.ai. We are very AI first company. We first think AI, and then we say, what to do. Whatever problem we look at, we first look at from AI lens kind of stuff, right? So we do a lot of research. We have developed a lot of applications. And while we're doing that, we realize that since AI is such a new field, a lot of people don't know what AI is. And I actually, to be very frank, I started my AI journey started about 1.5 years back. It's not a very old journey. I'm not a old hat in AI. But because we use AI, it allows us to go deeper and deeper kind of stuff. We built recently a very interesting conversational commerce app, which basically, you can use, basically you can buy anything using voice, and multilingual. You can basically say, like you would buy in a retail shop. Like if you go to, let's say, a grocery shop, maybe I can speak in Hindi. कि मुझे 2 किलो आटा दो, 1 किलो टमाटर दो kind of stuff, right? नहीं नहीं, actually मुझे एक मैगी भी डाल दो kind of stuff. Something which is very conversational and very natural to a human being to shop. That doesn't exist in the commerce world kind of stuff. So I'll be happy to do a demo, maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow, on what we have built kind of stuff, so that you can see, at least in from an application point of view, what kind of AI, but we have used, what kind of LLMs that we use, what kind of architecture that we used, kind of stuff. Uh, so so in this course, basically, I'll tell you what the structure is going to be, and you will be learning very deep. It is advanced AI course, not an overview of AI. When I say that, basically we'll go deep into each of these stuff. You'll actually, and I don't know how many of you know Python, because in my course, when I mentioned, I said Python is necessary. So is there anyone here who doesn't know Python, so that I can maybe sort of what I can say, modify the course in a way that you don't have to go through the, you can still learn from the course kind of stuff. Are you guys familiar with Python? Not familiar with Python? Uh, uh,
I
is,
was
is
actually I'm from the background of Java, so I
okay,
have a little knowledge about the Python.
okay. How about you, Venus, Himanshu, Lamini? I mean, are you from a tech background, non-tech background?
Yeah, I've coded in Python for a couple of years, so I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, okay,
I've done Python for data analytics, is that is something that I'm comfortable with, but in general coding, it might take me a little bit of more time.
I am
okay.
comfortable with Python. Not from a hardcore tech background, but yes, I'm
Hmm.
comfortable using Python from last couple of years for my own stuff. So yeah.
So
Okay,
Manoj, I am from a programming background, but yeah, I've been a bit rusty with Python.
okay,
Learned it 3 4 years back during COVID. But broadly, I understand algorithmic programming. I
okay,
used to program in C, so not very different for me.
okay. Okay, got it. So, what I'm sensing is that it might be difficult to build apps. Uh, while we can go through the code, we can try building apps. So the reason why I want you to basically know Python is because I want you to build apps. The app, the demo that I'm going to show tomorrow, I want you to build that, because once you go through the whole cycle, you will understand the whole architecture, right? You will understand how the funnel flows. I'll tell you the practical applications where you will see hallucinations, right? Hallucination is where the LLM is actually giving you a very wrong answer, right? Something which you can say, you expect, let's say, we built a application called, where you can scan any grocery product in a grocery store and actually generates the metadata for it, right? It will generate what is the nutritional info. It can even capture the sodium in micrograms. It can capture fat in grams, carbohydrates, protein, manufacturer address, FSSAI, and all those things, right? Now imagine if the FSSAI is wrong. FSSAI basically is a number which is given by the government, that this is the food, this is like a food and
Safety,
safety
food
number
safety.
kind of stuff, right? If the SSI is wrong, and if you publish that, right, if some LM, sorry, legal and metrology guy comes and checks that, right? If it finds it wrong, legal and metrology violation, if he saw that lot in craftzilla.com, which I ran, is a non-billable warrant. It's non-billable, you can actually get arrested,
Yeah, yeah.
and those kind of stuff, right? So something very simple for a LLM to basically make a mistake is so costly at the business side. That's where you don't want a hallucination to happen. So what do you do for that, and all those things is also an interesting thing that we went through by training our LLM on custom data and those kind of stuff, which can be interesting if you're coming from that angle, that I want to use and build apps kind of stuff. Now, if you don't want to go through the whole grunt of building apps and those kind of stuff, because then that can become very intense in 2 weeks kind of stuff, right? We will go through the code, we'll go through the architecture, and if you of you want to build that app, I'll be happy to share code and help go through each and every, help you build that app kind of stuff. uh but if it's okay if you don't you don't code and if you don't want to build that app, we will at least understand the architecture, understand, for example, how latency is a problem. Like hallucination is one problem, latency is another problem. Your LLM is not that quick. It is it is lot of compute power which is running behind, right? It is as we understand LLM, you'll understand how much compute heavy LLM is, right? And therefore the whole GPU, I don't know if you are following the Nvidia stock price, right? If it went down, but it was just just shot up recently because they were making GPUs which was so fundamental to inferencing and training of LLMs, right? But latency is another challenge that we saw, right? Cost. So the three challenges I can tell you in AI that we practically saw: hallucination, which is a business risk, right? Cost, which is a P&L risk for you, and the latency, which is basically a experience risk, right? These three big practical issues, and how do you solve this? What kind of optimization can you do is something that I want you to learn. At the end of 10 weeks, you can say, okay, these are the three challenges of AI, or four challenges or five challenges, and these are the five solutions, practical solutions, which no one will talk to you, but these are the practical solutions for that. And even if you can get out of 10 sessions, at the end, if you can just articulate it to someone, I think it's a big win in my view, out of our 10 sessions that we'll do. uh, uh, so that's basically what gonna be the course. We'll get into AI, we'll try to understand what AI is. A lot of it's a big buzzword, but getting understanding what actually AI is also very interesting. Then LLM, which is basically the today's engine behind the whole generative AI, and a lot of agentic AI that we are seeing coming up in future. And then how to optimize for speed and cost and all those things is an important factor, because you all are coming from corporate world and you're not a student, right? So you will be asked, you know the application, the impact of that on the business, right? And you should be able to articulate it, and we will try to build the mini products. I wanted you to build sentiment analysis, which is a very simple tool, semantic search using vector database. Now vector database is again a very interesting infrastructure, AI infrastructure, where the relational databases that we know, they basically are getting replaced by vector databases because the unique semantic nature, and it would be good for you to understand what a vector database is, because someone somewhere in your AI journey will ask or will tell you about a vector database, and you should know about what that is. Right? Semantic search, right? We know, if I'm searching for, let's say, if I'm searching for Maggie, right? And if the product is Maggie is not there, what should the search show, right? Maggie in lot of Indian sense. If I look at from a just from as an Indian, Maggie also means noodle, right? We semantically associate Maggie with noodles, right? So if I'm searching for Maggie, if a Maggie is not there, it should show me noodles, right? Semantically, that's closer, and should not just say I couldn't find a product if other noodles are there, right? So semantic search is also very interesting. And then the metadata generation, which basically is again a interesting application that we developed, is how do you generate using just image, right? If I take a photo of a product, if I take a photo of let's say my T-shirt, can I generate a product catalog? Because cataloging is a big problem in commerce, right? How do you generate a catalog? So it's a collared, the blue T-shirt. It's a collared T-shirt. It has a front pocket. It is basically a tight fit. All that is generated by metadata. And the interesting thing that we also did in metadata generation, tell me the suggested price, right? So the LLM actually generates a price which is a range, but it tells me what price I can sell. And believe me, when we inserted like tell me the suggested price of a Maggie, which was easier to generate, like let's say 55 to 60 rupees, it said, but it also generated interesting prices for silk sari versus sari, cotton sari versus sari, for example. And silk sari, you will assume it will be in a higher range compared to uh, and if time permits, if you build something, I would want you to showcase your product, but if you don't, that's fine. We'll skip that. We'll substitute that with some other session kind of stuff, right? As I said, knowledge of Python is necessary, but I'll skip that because I understand that you coming from corporate world. Maybe we'll just go through the Python and tell you the high level architecture of the code, and we'll get into the challenges in that application. That all these applications we have built, so I can tell you the challenges, I can tell you the architecture, and then how you can build it if you want to build it kind of stuff. And it basically, it is, attend all the sessions. I would say if you've taken the first jump of coming here, don't miss the 10 sessions, because it is going to be intense, but it will help you leap forward faster. You will come out as maybe not an AI expert, but someone who understand AI from multiple dimensions kind of stuff, right? And is not a novice or someone or the buzzword, but you don't know what's the story behind kind of stuff, right? So I would want you to attend all the sessions. I have already introduced in a bit that I'm, founder and CEO of Plotch.ai, which is one of the largest AI. We build commerce infrastructure, right? So if we, it basically, if you want to do any kind of commerce, we provide the infrastructure. We are one of the largest in ONDC, which is an open network for digital commerce. We have just last week we did a billion API completion. So billions of API, 1 billion API were actually used in our infrastructure kind of stuff, right? And previously, before this, I started a company called craftseller.com. I've been a VC. I'm alumnus of IIT and UCSD and Urbana Champaign. And this is my LinkedIn profile. You can check it out. Now, feel free to ask me any questions. And I do a lot of webinars, and this is the first time that I'm doing this course, but uh, people learn the most when they ask the most, and it can be it 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 is not that if you ask me, I will have all the answers, but it helps me also learn and from this course and go back and see this question, what the answer could be kind of stuff, right? So feel free to ask any questions. One thing I can tell you is that we have a lot of practical knowledge, so that nuggets I can tell you from whatever experience that we have. uh, now, uh, now, this is basically is a diagram that I have, and some buzzwords are here. So a lot of things you will already know. Starts with it's a very wide circle, which is a ASI, which is super intelligence, which primarily means that it is a sphere where we have outgrown the human kind of stuff, right? Under that is AGI, which is called artificial general intelligence, which basically means human. AGI is basically human kind of stuff, right? And below that is AI, which is where we are talking about. And we are not talking about AGI, we are not talking about ASI kind of stuff here. We are still not, I think, it will take another 5, 10 years or 20 years for us to get there. We're talking about AI, and AI primarily, if you look at, comprises of two or three primary domains. One is NLP, which is a natural language processing. One is ML, which is machine learning processing, and computer vision. I've not kept it computer vision, but computer vision is also, a big pillar in AI. If you look at under ML, right, there is a deep learning curve, and deep learning is a fundamental part of LLM, right? Gen AI uses a lot of LLMs. That's why you see all the overlaps here. NLP has a lot of voice part, right? And agentic has a lot of Gen AI, LLM, plus a lot of other AI stuff, kind of stuff, and agentic a lot of APIs which talks about kind of stuff, right? So if you look at primarily the whole umbrella, right? Machine learning is, you can think of it as a brain kind of stuff, and NLP you can think of as a mouth and ear kind of stuff, and computer vision you can think more as eyes kind of stuff, right? Computer vision is used a lot in self-driving car, so object detection, this is a car, this is a human, this is a tree, this is a lane, this, so object detection is it's lot which happens um, in self-driving car, and that's primarily computer vision. And that again comes from a lot of training and machine learning and deep learning kind of networks. Because how do you detect an object? How do you detect it's a car kind of stuff? It's again a lot of learning is there kind of stuff. And robotics is another field I'm not put in the graph here in the circles here. It's all about body, hand movement and those kind of stuff. So if you look at the whole, from this perspective, right? It is interesting that each component is sort of a reflection of a body, and it's all the pieces are now coming together, and then take us to AGI, and probably ASI is something we may not want to see, because when we talk about ASI, you're basically talking about someone who is beyond human, who has super intelligence, who is like a human, who can take decisions on their own, which is a very interesting part where the AGI starts to kick in. But in ASI, basically, they also have superpowers of brain kind of stuff, right? So that 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 journey is it can be interesting, it can be scary, whatever way you want to say it, kind of stuff, right? Any questions on this? I am particularly very excited about agent tech part, because agent tech is where the Gen AI sort of gets into where you are telling an assistant or an AI agent to do a task for you, right? Gen AI is primarily question answers, right? Draw me a white cat kind of stuff. So it's a creative part. Then it can be like you know create a Python code which does which finds a square root of pi kind of stuff, right? So it's a coding part kind of stuff. But agentic is very interesting, where I can say, what, plan a trip to Greece for me, right? uh, how would the AI agent know what to do? But AI agent has to know what kind of accommodation I like. So maybe I like Airbnb, should go to Airbnb. AI will know, what kind of rewards I have around rental cars. So maybe I have Hertz rewards, so I'll go to Hertz for booking of car. It might go to some museums because I like museums. So it might book me a plan a museum trip, kind of stuff. So that is where it becomes interesting, because you have told someone who is a personal assistant kind of stuff and is doing stuff for you, like agentic AI, and if you have, and I personally believe lot of API calls, because imagine you're told the agent to book a ticket, it has to do a lot of API calls in the behind. So suddenly your API explosion happens, right? So if you know API, if you're going in the direction of APIs, um, if you don't know API, that is going to just explode in the next phase of AI, which is coming, kind of stuff. And that's why I tell a lot of people to spend a lot of time on AI, API architecture, how to test APIs, API performance from building that and stuff, right? Any questions till now? I've been speaking a lot, but I hope you guys can follow what I've depicted here. Any comments, questions?
Just one question on agentic AI. So is it fine to believe, or is it not, that agentic AI is nothing but a set of multiple Gen AI kind of a stuff? So if I just talk as a basic layman, let's assume a Python code, uh, where we have coded a lot of Gen AI stuff. Let's say Python code which where a lot of Gen AI stuff, and there is a flow of, let's say, booking a trip to Greece. First it's about the itinerary building, then it's about options where I spend time on make my trip, and others to decide where to book, which credit card to use, and then my past history of using that. Is it something, a set of Gen AI stuff combined with some personalized thing, or is it something very different and we are taking it wrong?
No, it is not Gen AI alone. So first thing is that it is not just a combination of a lot of Gen AI. Let's understand what Gen AI is. It's generative AI, right? Which means that you are generating something, right? Primarily, either you are generating text, or video, or music, or art, those kind of stuff. It is in ML, for example, in ML you also have rule based, or function. So I can say that I actually don't like, you know to I don't like Airbnb, right? So it is nothing to do with generative AI. It's a rule which has been learned and has been programmed in somewhere in the whole engine, that Manoj Gupta does not like Airbnb kind of stuff. It's nothing to do with Gen AI and stuff. Right? So it is so when I'm looking at planning my trip to Greece, right? What is the generative part here? Uh, uh, so first thing is, let's say I'm speaking. There's a speech recognition which is happening, right? It is listening at my voice and converting into text, right? Now when I'm speaking, I don't plan a trip to Greece, right? Some kind of text to a structured response has to be created, right? And this we did in our conversational commerce app.
Hmm.
So people could say, uh, show me saris under 500, right? Now how would you execute that? Think about how would you execute that, right? Uh, so first thing is that, of course, the voice capture happens, voice to text happens, right? So we can use multiple libraries. We can use 11 labs for speech to text. We can use assembly APIs for speech to text. We can use Google's speech to text, right? We ended up using Google, for example, right? Once a speech to text happen, and it has to be multilingual, right? So which means that you're basically capturing something, and then in a multilingual way kind of stuff, and then you feed it to the LLM to give you a structured response. Now what is the structured response?
Product sari,
Hmm?
maybe price under 5,000. These are the structured response coming out from that particular stuff, and there could be other structured response expected but not coming out of it,
Hmm.
which can go back and ask the user again.
Yeah. So you're close. Basically, structured response here basically means that category sari, for example, right? Show me under, and now I'm saying show me, so it's a search.
Hmm.
I could have said add to cart a
Right.
red sari, right? So then the action becomes search. So add to cart, not a search. I'm sorry. So show me also it has to be
Hmm.
in a structured way. It has to be said it is a search, not a add to cart or any other action kind of stuff, right? And if I say red sari, let's say, so red is a color, so color has to be red. Category has to be sari under 500, right? So first of all, it has to detect it's a currency. So that's where the LLM's intelligence comes, right? it would automatically say it's actually a price, because under 500 in this context means price and
Hmm.
stuff, right?
Hmm.
And then it will, I could have said over 500, right? I could have said between, ऐसा करो 500 1000 के बीच में दिखाओ, kind of stuff, right? Something like, Hindi. I'm speaking Hindi because I only know Hindi. So, so just an example I'm saying. Um, so price minimum and price max, right,
Hmm.
is something that a structured response has to give. Now, once
Hmm.
I have the structured response from my, from a voice to
Text.
text to a structured response. Now, structured response, of course, I need LLM for that. And
Hmm.
that's where the LLM's, generative part comes. It is not giving me music. It is not giving me uh, uh, video or something. It is giving me a structured response. Actually, OpenAI just for structured response, they have upgraded, GPT-4o to a
Hmm.
latest version. Latest version has structured response as one of the strengths, because it is so fundamental to how you program and how do you search, right? Because now I have structured response, I can go and do a query in MySQL.
Hmm. Hmm.
I can do a query in a vector DB,
Hmm.
right? And say price less than this, price min, and price greater than this kind of stuff, right? So now now this is where the generative AI part comes, right? So plan a trip to Greece, right? It basically has to say, okay, plan. I have to plan. I don't have to buy. I don't have to book kind of stuff. I have to plan. So that's one thing. Trip to Greece. Greece is a country. Okay, so I have to Greece and plan a trip for me, Manoj Gupta. This is the Manoj Gupta. So somewhere the Manoj Gupta's preferences has to be there, kind of stuff, right? And so first the generative parts comes from a structured response. So it will give me a structured response. And now someone, multiple agents have to, so agentic API, usually there is no single agent, there's multiple agents have to come. So
Hmm.
so one will say, this master agent will say, okay, you book your, let's say, accommodation agent, get me the best, you know uh, for this to this. Now again, I've not planned me a trip to Greece, I have not given the dates, right? Now it may happen, then your agent will ask you for dates. Now again, the generative part comes and stuff, right? So agent, now let's say I, aisa karo, just book for next 2 weeks. Try it next 2 weeks. If you don't get good, then try then another 3 weeks and stuff, right? Or it may be that because of my patterns of that I always travel during Dashara, you say, okay, Dashara is the time when I can plan my trip kind of stuff, right? And then it will fire APIs. So all these, you can say, how do you call it, master agent and slave agent, you can say. All these slave agents will then, fire, API call to booking.com, fire API to hotels.com, airbnb.com, trip.com, and others, kind of stuff, right? And then get data. And then, again, it will get fed into LLM. LLM will structure that as a response, that, because LLMs are good in structuring. There's one thing they're very good at. If you want to, let's say, give a paragraph and say, bulletize this for me. And we can actually see that on ChatGPT. It actually does very well. It will actually create a very structured bullet form of a paragraph, and summarize this. It will summarize this kind of stuff, right? So it is not just what I want to just highlight. Your question is very, very interesting, because it is not just generative AI, and generative AI is not agentic AI. Agentic AI is much bigger. It basically, it has some part of generative AI, but it's not everything kind of stuff, right? And it's very important for you to understand what generative AI is, because then you can distinguish the different components of AI. Generative AI is also not LLM.
Hmm.
It's not just LLM, right? And that again is LLM is the brain and engine behind generative AI. That's true. I don't know how many of you know LLMs are. I have, of course, lot of slides, post this, but also, the reason I want you to look at each and every word here, understand it very clearly, is because if someone is saying something, right? A lot of people say, I ask, what LLM are you using, and they say Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT is an app. It is not an LLM. GPT is the app. LLM, sorry. GPT is the LLM. Chat GPT is an app. And that basically is very fundamental difference, that we need to, when we're looking at AI, when we understand all these components very well, we will be able to tell what is. As I said, AI is artificial intelligence, then machine learning, and then generative AI. And generative AI uses LLM. And LLMs primarily today is GPTs, not just just GPTs, but primarily GPTs. And GPT has this interesting story how GPT got created and those kind of stuff. But primarily GPTs are generative pre-trained transformers. And it's interesting how GPTs came along, and how how LLMs got created. Um, but as I said, it is generative AI is a subset of AI where some kind of generation is happening. Is a generation of text, audio, imagery, structure, response, music, whatever, creative art, but some kind of generation is happening, and LLMs are behind the Gen AI kind of stuff. Now this is, I don't know if maybe you have seen this in multiple places, but I usually ask this, you know, uh, how long, this basically graph says how long the top apps took to hit 100 million monthly users. 100 million monthly users, right? So Google Translate took 78 months. Uber took 70, Telegram took 61, Spotify 55, Pinterest 41, Instagram 30, TikTok only 9 months. Do you know how much time, how many months ChatGPT took to get to 100 million monthly users?
I think within the first month itself.
Okay, you're very optimistic. Answer is
I think it's on
close. It's
two
actually
months
close.
after its launch.
Yeah, it's two months. It's primarily, it just tells how, you know the hype and the buzz around ChatGPT. And it's not just buzz, it's hype. It's actually, if we start using today, I have stopped using Google. Literally, I use only Google for 20% of time. I either go to Perplexity, I either go to ChatGPT, or Gemini for my answers, because it's so easy. So it is interesting, the way these guys have. These are the Gen AI apps. ChatGPT. How do you guys use ChatGPT? Have any of you
I I
used it?
have I have used, but unfortunately my organization has stopped allowing ChatGPT. So I'm now using Bing's GPT.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, they use the same,
yeah, yeah,
GPT infrastructure. Bing is using OpenAI. OpenAI uses
right, right.
GPT and stuff. So yeah. So you're using, in a way, indirectly, ChatGPT. Uh, any of you
Yeah.
want to answer?
Yeah, I have also been using ChatGPT for a long time now,
Okay.
just to just to resolve errors or just to manipulate data from one language to another.
Mm,
Like I have to convert an Angular code to the next JS.
mm.
So ChatGPT helped me a lot in that.
Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of my tech team members just use ChatGPT for codes. It
I
actually
just
just it's just amazing, how transformation has
I
done
just
in the code.
learned Next.js through ChatGPT by converting my Angular code to the Next.js. I have
Yeah.
zero relation with the React or Next.js or anything. I don't
Yeah.
know. I haven't coded in JavaScript for I think last 2 years. But using this, I just got a good idea of the next years, and I just
Hmm.
get the basic concepts of it.
Great. Have you used Replit by any chance?
No.
Again, is for text to code.
Okay, I'll just try it.
Just try it because that also is very interesting. Uh, it basically, you can generate any kind of code using Replit, and I'm happy to. Maybe we can tomorrow. We can do a how we can start using these apps and actually see how these apps work and stuff. I'm actually Synthesia is a very interesting text to video. It has amazing avatars. You'll not even, I don't know, maybe we can show it to you here, but primarily these are human like avatars. A chat
Mhm.
DID is again a human like avatar. You can give a text, you can give a audio, and they will actually speak as if human is speaking kind of stuff. So imagine you can create sales pitch, great sales pitch out of it. You can create corporate videos out of it, and you have to do nothing. For example, we created a podcast using Notebook LM. I don't know if any of you use Notebook LM.
No, I didn't.
Okay, if you have not, you have to use it at least once. It's a Google product. Just got launched some time back. You basically give anything, a website or a PDF or your deck, anything. It will create such an amazing podcast. The two people are talking about what's there, and you don't even feel that
Mhm.
it is artificial kind of stuff. You'll actually feel there's a podcast happening. That people are talking. We created on ONDC, for example. We created on Plotch.ai itself, and the kind of interesting insights they were able to give about Plotch.ai, which actually we said, okay, actually is interesting. We should also say like that, or this is something we did not consider. Use it. I'm telling you, it is going to be very, very interesting if you use Notebook LM. Again, if Opus is a generative for video clips. Let's say you have a long video, but you want to create 10 minute, 10-second shots, like video shots, 10-second or 15-second video shots out of a long video. It actually generates in a very, very interesting way. So Opus is again something you can try. A lot of these apps have, other than Jasper asks for credit cards. A lot of these apps don't ask for credit cards, so you can actually try without entering credit cards. They give you some credits and those kind of stuff. Mid Journey for text to image kind of stuff. These are interesting applications which have come out of last 3-4 years of AI, generative AI, and not kid stuff anymore. A year back or 2 year back, it was kid stuff. And now, you know, corporate in your corporate, in a professional world, you can actually save a lot of time, by using this, and really leapfrog yourself into something which is another dimension kind of stuff. Uh, as I said, Chat GPT is an app. GPT is the brain behind that app, and LLMs can do a lot of stuff. They can translate text from one language to another, which is again a very interesting thing, that how a multilingual LLM can be generated. Right now, I'll speak a lot about LLM in my further slides, but LLMs consume a lot of content. The way the LLMs are getting created, it's a large language model, right? It's large, it's a language, and it's a model. The three things, three words here, and they aptly describe what LLM is, right? LLM is not a database, right? You would assume that I'm asking LLM for a code. LLM has somewhere a database. LLM doesn't have a database. It's a model, right? The way it's able to generate an answer is just because it knows so much data. It has basically been trained so much of data that if you say, let's say, you know, let's say, some like Gandhiji is from, then it knows India. It's just predicting the next because it has been trained so much on Gandhiji is from India. Gandhiji was born in India. Gandhiji was born in Gujarat in India. Those kind of stuff. It has been trained so many times that it knows that Gandhiji is from India and stuff. Right? There's no database at all and stuff. So because it's been trained so much, right? So again, because it knows so much of language, because it has been trained on lot of language. So how would it know how to translate, right? For example, from Hindi to English and those kind of stuff, because it has been trained on so much of data. It knows that for this sentence, this is the best output kind of stuff. So they are multilingual. First thing you have to you type anything on in chat GPT, you can type in Hindi also, it will generate answer. You can type in English, which is again is interesting thing that we saw in our app, which said ki mujhe red sari dikhao. It's a completely an English sentence, right? Mujhe is I, red sari is English, dikhao is again show me, right? Kind of stuff. So English sentence also is understand. Again, a very interesting because imagine if you had to build a English I'm saying, multilingual, voice capable, conversational app 2 years back. Not possible. We created this in 1 month. And to be very frank, we did not do anything. We just architected it. LLM was doing everything, kind of stuff, right? So again, they can do Q&A. They can do. They're multilingual. They can create summaries of long articles. They're very good at programming languages. They can capture sentiments. They can not only capture that it is whether the customer is happy or sad or angry. They can also capture 10 or 20 different emotions which there in the text. So they can for example, if someone says that uh, like a curious kind of can you tell me more about this? It's a curious kind of, so they can capture also that sentiment kind of stuff, right? Which actually is very interesting because you can use, let's say if you have a lot of reviews and you want to know which review has a bad sentiment, which review has a good sentiment, which review has a question, someone is asking question, those things actually you can use from a sentiment analysis kind of stuff. And LLM can do a lot of stuff like generate images and video and those kind of stuff that I've already described. Top LLMs. GPT-4, GPTs, have you heard of GPTs? OpenAI, GPT. OpenAI, everyone has
Yeah.
heard, right? Okay, so OpenAI is started in 2015. And you probably know it started by Elon Musk and Sam Altman. Uh, they they created OpenAI to make AI accessible to everyone and those kind of stuff, right? Uh, they basically today the latest, so GPT-1 came, GPT-2 came, GPT-3 came, 3.5 came, 4 came, 4.0 came, 4.01 is currently the one, right? And 4.01 is very interesting because GPT 4.01 can answer PhD level questions, right? So they can actually reason why this question has this answer. It's very interesting because reasoning was still now missing, that why this question had this answer kind of stuff, right? So it actually can solve lot of deep scientific problems and also give reason Why the solution is this? Gemini is a LLM from Google. Llama is from Meta. Meta is Facebook company. Llama is open source. So unlike GPT-4 and Gemini, Llama is open source, which means that you can actually take Llama, train it, and you can create your own model kind of stuff, which you cannot do. You can fine tune GPT-4, but you cannot get all the weights and biases. You cannot get the model, download the model and take it somewhere, or host it somewhere kind of stuff, right? So GPT-4 and Gemini has that limitation, but Llama is something a lot of people use for their open source LLM. Now there's also a concept of, do you know what SLM is?
No, I don't know more.
It's a small language model.
Yeah. So it's a small language model, right? So we have talked about we have talked a lot about LLM, but a lot of people are talking about SLM, which is small language model. And Meta and LLM, Llama has, they have some models which are small in nature. And why you need small models is, let's assume that you want to do some kind of generative AI on a phone, which is we call on the edge, AI on the edge devices kind of stuff, right? Then you cannot have such a huge model and with trillions of parameters, which it takes like 60 GB of memory run on the phone, right? You need small language model to do primarily simpler stuff. It can be a simple translation, simple sentiment analysis, not very complicated, question answers kind of stuff. Simple, maybe something related to your corporate, right? You have a lot of corporate have employee policy, a leave policy, separation policy, HR policies, lot of documentation on internal flows. Maybe you can create an SLM, put it on the mobile device, and just have a Q&A session where you can ask, do we have, how many holidays do we have in 2024 kind of stuff, right? Those kind of questions can be answered by SLM. So a lot of people are talking that LLMs are good. It basically does lot of interesting stuff, but SLMs are something which can be interesting for me in the future kind of stuff, right? So Llama and a lot of others open source have SLM kind of stuff. Mistral is another one which basically is open source. And we have talked about all these GPTs. So OpenAI, when they is a closed, all these are closed, and Llama and Mistral are open source. So it's important, if you're getting deep into LLM, is to understand what is closed and what is open, because for training and for building your own models, it might be useful for you to use open source instead of a closed source kind of Gemini or GPT kind of stuff. These 175 million, 1.5 billion, 175 billion, 175 trillion. Do you know what these are?
Yeah, the number of parameters, right?
Yeah. So these basically, right, these are number of parameters which basically the model has, which basically we call weights and biases. So these are primarily the number of weights and biases which the model has, right? And just imagine 175 trillion weights and biases. Somewhere it has to be stored. Then the calculations have to happen with 1.75 trillion. We have equation ax plus, let's say 2x plus 3y is equal to, let's say 5, right? How many parameters are there? Right? Primarily the 3, you can say that 2x is 2 into x to 2, 3y 3 into y, so 3. And then there's a bias, which is, we call it a bias is equal to 3 kind of stuff, or is equal to 5 kind of stuff, right? That's basically is what we have, right? 3. Just imagine 175 trillion, parameters. How do you solve that in real time to give you an answer in within 500 milliseconds, right? That basically is a scale problem. That's where GPT, before that, you could never do it. But GPT allowed you to parallelize, you know, break a large equation into very, very small equations and solve in parallel using massive computing to give you an answer within 500 milliseconds, right? The average fast, the average is 320 millisecond in 4.0. So that basically is where the invention came, is from these 8 Google employees who in 2017 wrote a paper which is called Attention is All You Need. If you ask anyone in LLM who's doing deep research in LLM or those kind of stuff, and if you ask them, have you read Attention is All You Need? 99.9% they would have read it. Because this is such a fundamental paper which was written in 2017, which transformed the AI which we see today. And just remember, this was Google employees who wrote it. 8 Google employees. This is not OpenAI. It is Google who actually created GPT. But of course, 6 out of 8 authors were born outside, and all of the authors have left Google and founded their own AI startups by 2023. Because everyone wanted to give them money, because they were the reason why we see AI today as it is, kind of stuff, right? So it is an interesting story. A lot of people have written about these guys, 8 guys. If you get time, definitely you should read about them. If you get to flip, if even if you don't understand, do flip over the paper. Attention is all you need. It's interesting title also, but the reason why title is there, because a lot of these GPTs use attention mechanism to basically process the whole LLMs kind of stuff. As I said, does not have a database. It has only weights and biases. It's a model. It is not a database. So when you imagine LLM, don't imagine that LLM has a lot of data, right? It doesn't have a lot of data. It has only equations, and what you put as X and Y is basically the output is what it gives. It does nothing else, right? It is basically predicting the next token, the next word. That's basically what it's doing. So when you go to ChatGPT, if you type, you'll see it actually is printing. The output doesn't come out like this, right? It actually is printing. And the reason is predicting the next word. It's completing the sentence, because it has learned so much that it knows after this has to come, after this has to come, after this has to come, right? It is something which, when I first you know heard about this, or read about this, it was mind-boggling. Just predictor for the next word. And I was actually looking for which database OpenAI uses this, and I couldn't find any answer, kind of stuff. And the reason is because it's not a database, and it just modeled like a brain. LLM is modeled exactly in a very similar to our brain. It is modeled, around, as a human intelligence. We have a lot of neurons. I don't know if you know about this, that we have these neurons which basically are connected to each other, and we have trillions and trillions of these, right? And each of these neurons have some, you know uh, we think it is, it is sort of memory that we have, but it has a lot of weights and biases that we have, and our brain is so fast that actually when you put something, it also is predicting the next thing, kind of stuff, right? And that's whole neural networks is what we call it. When we look at brain, a lot of these people, realize that how can we replicate brain, and then they realize that this is what is happening in the brain, and then they created these neural networks. It basically is a combination of lot of interconnected neurons. Each of the neurons have some kind of weights. So this neuron is connected to this neuron, some kind of correlation which has this weight, and this way. And basically, it is a complex science to verifying. I don't understand fully for you to tell you this is how it works, kind of stuff. But the reason I'm presenting it here is for you to know that it is so complex. I know the 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 number of layers, the number of nodes that each of these GPTs have so enormous, that it is just mind-boggling kind of stuff. This is again a very very deep, you can say, if you look at attention is all you need. This is what they have described. It is primarily a decoder encoder architecture kind of stuff, where this is feeding into this and this feeding it back kind of stuff. So lot of deep learning or LLM is all about training, and the training is basically means that there's a loop which is happening kind of stuff. And if I feed something, it is getting fed back again and again, and it is predicting the next word and those kind of stuff. So that training is something which consumes a lot of power, right? LLMs are so hard to build because they consume so much of power. They consume so much of data. One of the biggest problems in LLM is how do you generate data? How do you get all this data, right? You have to scrape. For example, OpenAI scraped a lot of websites, and ethically, unethically, that's a question in itself. But they just scraped whole of internet and stuff, and then fed that data into this LLM, in a structured and unstructured way, both, and then trained all these parameters and got the values of these weights and biases. Is they created a model, and that's what we use it, kind of stuff, right? We almost actually we are out of time, but LLM needs a lot of training, and we will get into tomorrow into LLM training kind of stuff. How LLM gets trained, how do you generate synthetic data and real data. We have done a lot of training. We have used open source uh, LLMs for training. We have used even models of Gemini for training, OpenAI models for training, kind of stuff. It is probably you may not use it or you may use it, but to get a sense of how training happens will give you some flavor of how LLM works, kind of stuff. And I think it's important for you to know LLMs from that perspective. Any questions? I know I've sort of skipped 1 hour that we slotted. Any questions? Anything that you want me to focus on my next sessions? Anything that you feel that I skipped or should go deep? Anything?
I think Manoj, it would be helpful, let's say when we go into the next session and we want to revise as, let's say, rookies in AI, to probably go back to your slides, or let's say this the recording of the session at least. So would it be possible to share it maybe before the next session, so that, let's say, if any of us has time and they want to just go back to this, they can go through.
Yeah, this recording I'll definitely share.
Please.
So recording of today's session I'll definitely share. So that's not a challenge. Anything you want me to share as a pre-reading material, I'm happy to share also that.
I had not been able to go through the pre-read, that the links that came through yesterday, so I'll probably try to do that
Sure.
tonight.
No issues. I mean, if this it's not a requirement at all, but if you want me to share anything, I'm happy to share. Right. We will be, unlike today where I'm sharing a lot of slides, we'll probably not do a lot of slides tomorrow. but we'll actually go through the coding and training and synthetic data. I'll also share demo of our apps that we have built so that you can see that. And I'll also, if you can try some of these Gen AI apps, we would love you to share that experience. I'll also try to do that tomorrow so that you get some sense of what these apps are. Great.
Thank you very much for the session
Okay.
today.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And you have a great day ahead. And we'll meet again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you very
Thank you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.